We got our returning champion back here on the program tonight. You might know him as the Florida man who went viral in a quote unquote labor shortage experiment in which he applied to 60 jobs and landed just one interview. That was the first of many projects that fall under the Joey Holz experiment umbrella. Joey Holz, thanks for coming back, man. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, well, I timed this intentionally because you have an action coming up, which you say is going to be the first of many. We're going to put that event on our wall and make sure we plug that as best we can for you. But it's called Walking for Living Wages. So you obviously, you've been on the show before. Our followers know who you are. Anybody who stumbles upon this live stream or this YouTube video or this podcast recording for the first time, just talk a little bit about yourself very briefly, introduce yourself to any possible newcomers who haven't heard of you yet, and then talk about what this latest venture is all about.
All right. Well, the Joey Holtz experiment, I didn't even have a name for it when it happened. I had some conversations during the no one wants to work period of last summer where everyone was understaffed. Nobody wants to work. We can't find employees. Our governor cut off our employment benefits, all that good stuff. And I did my little experiment. It ended up getting national attention because it showed us what everyone who's ever looked for a job online experiences every single time. Which is, little to no response rate. Everyone's hiring, but nobody's hiring. It was ridiculous. Since then, national news reports, things like that have happened over the last few months. And I slowly have been building up towards taking more actions. I entered into this space kind of accidentally. And so many people resonated with what I did. I've tried to continue doing it. That's culminated in what we're here talking about today, the Walking for Living Wages. I set this up because we've been talking about $15 an hour for years, right? And at this point, it's almost too little, too late. It is. If you look at the minimum wage, the minimum living wage index, from the MIT calculator by Amy Glassmeyer and things like this, it's 15 doesn't do anything for anybody anywhere really anymore. Right. But the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, and there's not a human being in this country who should ever accept that wage. And people's answer to this is, well, nobody would pay that. I'm like, but it's legally allowed. So if nobody's got a problem with it, let's go ahead and just wipe that out and update it for 2022 into something that at least at the very start, 15 is over double the current minimum wage federally, and it's still not enough, but at least. I feel like that'd be a pretty good accomplishment if we can double the minimum wage overnight, right? So I'm going to walk and I'm going to bring up this topic and I'm going to live stream for 10 hours and everyone gets to get a look inside of my brain as I talk about all of the things that led up to this point, because that's a lot of time to fill with content.
I'll say. The longest we ever went was 8 hours, and that was on election night, and we had plenty of pizza and beer for that. So if you're going to be out and walking, so are you going to walk yourself, or are you going to invite people to walk with you, or are you just going to be kind of doing this solo?
So my plan was to do it solo because I'm going 15 miles. I know there's crazy people that go out and jog 20 miles every morning. I don't really know many of them, and they're probably, going to their jobs that day. Because they can afford the life of luxury that lets you go out and jog for pleasure, not because someone's chasing you. You know what I mean? These are things that we've gotten by developing a society. But I'm walking. I'm going to start in front of the Amazon warehouse by my where I live here in Fort Myers. It's the new RSW5 location. Southwest Florida airport's right nearby that. And that's about 15.1 miles from downtown where I plan on ending the walk. And then around noon, I'll be passing through the Bell Tower Shops, which is a place where, now there's a Dave & Buster's in there and a movie theater. It's gone through its ups and downs over the years. The Edison Mall, obviously malls are not in their renaissance right now. But when I was a teenager, that mall was where I spent every hour I wasn't at school or getting high outside of it, pretty much. And then down to downtown Fort Myers. And Key West is where my heart is. I'm from Key West. I'm repping the Conch Republic today on my headwear. But I went to school here too. And this was also a part of, this is where I did my experiment. This is where I always end up when Key West is too expensive. It's You know, it's like leaving New York City to go back home to your parents in Illinois. It's just, you know, every now and again you got to do it. And so I always end up back here, and this place can be awesome too. Like, so I want to showcase that as I walk through those places, and I have times that I hope to be walking through them by. People can join me for any leg of that. What I'm really hoping for everyone to show up and do, if they don't want to do all of the walking, the downtown portion is just from the courthouse to the library. It's very short, and a couple of my guys from that did the camera work for the Fox 4 broadcast said that they plan on showing up as long as they don't end up somewhere else that evening. My grandma's coming up from Key West. My son's going to come out. My uncle might come down. So I might have 4 generations of my family there.
Oh, that's great.
And we're all kind of gypsies. So getting us all in one place is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, that makes you an organizer. There you go.
That's what I'm, I guess, doing these days is like, and that's the other thing. I want people, Florida's a right to work state, right? We are in no man's land when it comes to employment rules. Like, you have 0 rights, as like right to work might as well be right to just get punched in the face by your boss repeatedly, because that's what it feels like. You know, you just, there's no protections, and
no more right to abortion either. They just passed that law too.
It's so bad, and we need to make those changes here. Like, we need to give people protection. We stayed open through most of the coronavirus. Our workforce got decimated. You know, people don't realize, like, a lot of those service jobs, like, sorry, your server died of coronavirus because you needed your chicken tenders right now, and you didn't want to wear a mask because Governor DeSantis said we don't have to. It's like, and how'd that work out for everybody? You know, we're still 2 years later dealing with coronavirus shit, but our president said that it's safe now. So, right, we can all climb out from under our rocks finally, because we've been just hiding, waiting for him to say it's okay.
Well, he needs to make sure it's safe in case there's a draft, because, you know, he's got to be able to fit as many boys into those planes as he can without them worrying about masking up and social distancing and things like that. But we'll get to that later. Yeah, right. Exactly. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like us, hit the subscribe button. It's either this way or this way. I don't know. I can never tell because of the whole webcam mirror image recording thing. If you really like us, you could support us at Patreon or Substack. The links are in the description. If you don't like us, try watching another one of our videos. You might like that one a little better. If after that you still don't like us, perhaps it just wasn't meant to be.